So I've already imported the meshes so I've just imported 90-degree right turn, some signs for it. I've also imported some free car sprites. So let's just extract them, but first I want to make sure that they display as 2D. So 2D pixels unfiltered, save, all good to go. Sprite actions, extract sprites. Go grid 4036. Now you can just invert the sprites, but laziness. Okay, from here there's a few things we need to do, but let's go into our blueprints first. Game mode, and I want to make this a variable so we can change them. So let's promote that to a variable. Let's call it tracks. Let's get rid of that, and let's make another integer. Tracks index. That's got to be an integer. And let's make that an array. So now we can change so that will still be exactly the same now, because we need to change a few other things. Now you can set up a parent for each different track you want to do. I'm just going to use the same parent because I don't have any different textures at the moment. So in here I'm just going to go to the set index, and I'm just going to get tracks, get track index, get a copy, write a variable, and we're just going to set it like that. And then in the event graph, just make sure that you plug in that. Okay, so now if we want to change, we can just go in here and set it to 1. So let's make a new track. So we go into our data tables and just duplicate it. Now we have track 2, but just quickly make sure that we have actually added track 2 in. There you go. So track 2 will be on 1 just because indices always start at 0. Alright, so let's make another track. First we need another segment, and this we're going to make a looping track now. So if we just grab the parent, create another child, and I'm only going to add right turns in at the moment. And we will grab the static mesh, and we will set it up to track 90. So just a simple little thing there, and just make sure that we move the box to 5 to -31. That should be the middle there. Okay, so to do this, let's just get the generation done and then I'll show you. We also want to make a new set dressing, so let's just create and static mesh. That will just be 90 turn signs. Okay, so if we go back to our data table, and this is track 2, so we will change that to straight, 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 and then we'll go right 90. It's easier if we do this. Oh, that's why. And then we want to go straight, straight. That's going to have to be a straight there too. And that will be a 90. Straight. And then we need another 2 straights. 90. And another 3 straights. So we want to set that to that. We want this on all the 90s. Okay. And we can even set the palms on all the straights. Unnecessary, but there you go, that one's only going to have one. So I know what I did wrong. Okay, in this one, just make sure when you grab the box, just rotate it by 90 degrees, otherwise it won't work. Did I miss one? Yes, I did, that's why. Okay. And there you go, we've got a track. Now, at the moment, we don't have a car to race in it, so we'll set that up next. But first of all, let's add a little bit of information to this one. So this might not make sense until we make the car, but actually we'll make the car first. So let's make a new folder, move all that into there, and we'll make a new folder. We'll do vehicle, and let's make, so I'm just going to cheat and use a character here. I'm going to call this coupe. So just a circle, mesh. No, we're not going to be able to use that, so we're going to use a paper sprite. And we're also going to need a camera, so a spring arm with a camera on it. So something we can do just to make sure that it works straight off the bat, play at 0, but we'll also have to just do it in the world here. No. Game mode. We haven't actually even set up a game mode, so let's do that, and we will set that up as the coupe. Okay, so let's set the paper sprite to one that I imported before, and we're just going to set it up as, I haven't named them, so set it up to that just so we can see. So we'll have to rotate that by 90, and let's make it a bit bigger. It's a little bit off center. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine for the purposes of this. So with the spring arm, you don't want to change the location of the camera. You always want to do it from the spring arm. So if you set that to 500 and 100, you can see that it moves that around. All right. There's a few things I need to do on the camera. So I just need to make sure that it works correctly, but we'll have to do that through testing because I can't remember exactly. That's okay. Now let's set up our inputs. Go to project settings, input, and then you want to do your axis mapping, and this will be forward, backward, and that'll be W, that'll be S, -1 here. Another axis will be left, right, that'll be left, right. Don't know why I did it that way, but that's fine. Okay, so that's all the axis mappings we need. Okay, so let's start with this one. So this will be add movement input. Now we need to make this one go forward, but because we're going to be messing with the camera, I'm going to set that up off of the camera. Okay, world rotation. No, I don't know why I'm doing that one first. We need the forward first. No, I feel like this is right. Vector. I believe that should be fine. And then for this one, control rotation, go right vector. Okay, so that should be our inputs. Now there is some things we can do with the left and right just to make it a little bit better, but let's just make a variable here. Just because I'm going to use that one. And so basically all I'm going to do is mess with the sprites. There's much better ways to do this, but I'm just going to do it this way because it's fast and easy. So this you want to set up to both. Basically all I'm doing is setting up conditionals for the right and left. Obviously if you've got left hands you're going to have to set up one more if you're doing it this way. And the only reason I'm doing it this way is because I'm working with sprites. So if that equals true, so if it's false, okay, so if that's false, that's false, false, false. Okay, so now set sprite. Could have done this much easier. Okay, just plug all them in. And then we'll have to make sure that the sprite is also connected to all of them. It's going to start looking like spaghetti. Okay, and now we need our assets. So for straight, we want straight there. So if it's going straight, now we want that one there as well. So if we're going right, if we're going left, if we're going right, and if we're going straight. So at the moment, oh, that looks very dodgy, but I mean, we've got our left and right. So what we did there is we didn't plug in this. There you go. Okay. So if we just add in a player start, I think it needs to be that way. There we go. We actually have a car with movement. I mean, it's not great, but we got it. But with our current setup, you'll see that once we get to the corner, oh, how's we gonna turn there? So if we go back to here, we go to our track, go to our 90. So let's mess around with this one a bit. So there's two things that we need to do. We need another box collision. Tick. Enable. And a spline. So there may be an easier way to do this, but this is one I understand. So this box, we want to cover this entire area. Whatever, I don't care. Make it a bit bigger, because just in case there's some sliding out or anything. Okay, and with the spline, we want to grab the end point and just put it over here. Now, it doesn't really matter what the spline looks like. We're just using the length to make sure that we can go across it. So to use this spline, first we want to grab it, then we want to find input key closest, and to get the world location, we're just going to get player character world location. I feel like using the root is better. Okay, world location. So this will just be finding the location of the player. Then we need to do a few things here. So we want to get distance along spline. No, get distance along. Let's do point. Get distance along spline and input key. I don't feel like that's the right one. Distance along spline input key. Alright, I'm just going to pause it here and okay, I just had to quickly check, so that is the wrong one. So get distance along spline at spline point. I don't know why. Ah, that's why. I hadn't truncated. Okay, that makes sense now. And we want to do that one again. I didn't realize you couldn't do it. I truncated on the way before, so I didn't realize that you need to do that beforehand. So you need to truncate again just to be able to get into it. Okay, and we'll just go minus. I believe I want that in there and then that in there. Okay. So let's just double check. I've got that going into there. I've got that needs to go in there. Truncate. Plus, where am I going with the plus? Let's go +1 here. Okay. Now we want to add these together. So all we're doing is now adding these together. Okay, so that will find out our distance along the spline, I believe. And then now we just need to kind of find out where on the spline we need to set these up. So first of all, we do definitely want to set up a variable at the very start. So remember that box, tick enabled box, we need to set up a begin and an end. So let's set up a float variable, and this will be entry rotation. Rotation. And this will be a float. So we're just going to cast it straight to the vehicle for now. I could do it better, but that's okay. This will work for now. So we need to set this, and we need to set actor tick enabled, and we're going to enable this one. So basically only when we're in the corner will it set the tick on. Controller, I don't know if that one's going to work. Controller, I think it's get player controller. Yeah, that won't work in the player. Get player controller. So we need that one. Get control rotation, and we'll split that and chuck it into Z. So all we need to do then is the same thing. So get player controller, set control rotation, just split that, chuck that into Z, and then tick. We do need to now get that, and that'll be in range. Oops, 2 plus. Now we're doing 90, so we will just 90 here. I'm just going to do a rough guess of 3000, but to find this value out, let's print okay, let's see if it's working. It doesn't seem right. I think I know why. Just disable the tick. Oh, this car is ridiculously slow. In character movement, I'm just going to pop this up to 2000 for now. And if we approach the corner, it starts rotating, but it doesn't feel like it's rotating at the corner. So we kind of want it to start rotating at around this point, which is around 13. Let's just be safe and do 1000. And then I want it to stop rotating at around 4200. So just set those values up, and this means that you can use your own segments and everything and just set it up easily. So 1000 for okay. Now should just rotate us around the track. That's not the right part to put in there, and it should just work on every piece of the track. And it only ticks over when you're in the track. Now that would be great, but I'm just pressing down forward, so there's no real challenge here. So if we set up a few things here, we'll get rid of that print string. We don't need it for now. Now for character movement and the spring arm, I want to enable camera lag and camera rotation. I'm just going to set this to 15. I'm going to set that to 5. And in the character movement, I'm going to set that to air control. I'm going to set that to 1. I'm going to set that to 350. Set that to acceleration. I'm going to set it to 1500, so it's not going to reach 1250. And let's see what happens here. So we got some acceleration. Doesn't look like our... Yes, I know what's happening here. We want to cast to the cube. Player character. And then we just make that a pure cast. Set turning on and off. It'll just make those animations a little nicer. And then we should have drifting. And I mean, if you use a better sprite, you can imagine. There you go. So if you don't accelerate, you will just drift off of the level. And if you turn into it, you'll be fine. There you go.